I'm Lindsay Keller with Seven Springs Real Estate. We're going to tell you about Leisure Woods today, one of Buta's most sought after neighborhoods. It's on the west side of Buta, just south of Austin. Leisure Woods is tucked into the intersection of 1626 and 967 in Buta, which is actually a perfect location for a lot of reasons. It's on the west side, so if you exit the neighborhood by 1626, you can take 1626 north and hit the Mopac extension, which takes you right into the heart of Austin. That's an easy little jump. So a lot of people that live in Austin commute from Leisure Woods because it's an easy little hop to get there. On the other side of the neighborhood, you can exit out on 967, which takes you directly into downtown Buta, which Buta has two different sections. So it takes you first into the old, charming Main Street district of Buta, and then into the area in front of 35, where all the bigger box stores, HEB, groceries, Walmart, all that is there. So it's a really nice location where it's easy to access both areas within about a 15-20 minute drive. One of the main reasons people like this neighborhood is because it has larger lot sizes. So the homes were built, I'd say on average around the 80s, maybe some in the late 70s, some in the early 90s, but 80s is kind of what I think of for Leisure Woods. So they've got that architectural style, but the lots are bigger. So you'll be able to find a half an acre in here, whereas most of the newer communities in Buta, you're gonna have very small yard space. Master plan communities where you might see the same floor plan repeated over and over again with just a little bit of difference in elevation in the front. But in here you have a lot more unique custom builds, which, carries its positives and negatives, because sometimes you walk in and you're like, I don't know what they were thinking when they did this. But oftentimes it just has a lot more character. So I feel like people are drawn to this neighborhood because it feels a little bit nostalgic. With the larger lots, the older houses, there are not a lot of privacy fences. It just feels more open with established trees, no sidewalks, just kind of feels like a little bit of walk back in time, in contrast to a lot of the other neighborhoods in Buta. If you live in Leisure Woods, there is an HOA. There's only one section where the HOA is mandatory, though. All the other sections are voluntary. So you can decide if you want to pay and opt into the HOA or not. If you do opt in, you have access to the amenities, which in here are a swimming pool and tennis courts. Really nice area. But if you don't think you're going to use that, then you don't have to pay into it. You don't have to be part of the HOA unless you're in that one section. Let's talk about schools in Leisure Woods. That's another reason people want to move to this neighborhood. The schools are some of the highest rated schools in Hayes ISD and in the Buta area. So you've got Carpenter Hill Elementary, Dulster Middle School, and Johnson High School. Johnson is the newest high school within Hayes ISD, and it's a gorgeous campus. So all of these schools are known for strong academics, but also strong athletics. In fact, there are families that I've worked with that have moved out of South Austin into Northwest Buta so that their kids can go to Johnson High School, because there's strong teams there, but they're easier to make the team, supposedly, than like Bowie High School and some of the larger schools in Austin. So it is still very competitive, but from what I hear, it may be easier to participate in more extracurricular activities at Johnson than some of the Austin schools. Groceries, okay, that's a sticking point a little bit. There's nothing that's right here easy for you. So if you forget cheese or something, you may have like a hike to go pick up one ingredient. So that's one thing. So from here, I think you could get to the Buta HEB is probably your closest grocery option. So that would require you exiting on 967 and heading east back toward I-35. That HEB is smaller. It doesn't stock as many high-end items, but it's easy to get in and out of because it's smaller. You go further south to Kyle, there's a huge HEB Plus that has lots and lots of variety and a lot of the higher end items, homemade fresh tortillas, but it's a huge store. It takes forever to get in and out of. If you head north from Leisure Woods, the closest Austin grocery store I think would be the Randall's at, Slaughter and Brody. would probably be your closest one. There's an HEB also at Slaughter and Manchac, or you could go to the Circle C HEB on Escarpment, which has some really nice offerings. So there are quite a few stores when you get into South Austin. It's just that nothing is like right in your backyard when you live in Leisure Woods. Okay, so again, you're on the west side. So if you've got to get to the airport, that's in Southeast Austin. So you're kind of going across, all the way across from the east to west side. I'd say probably 20 to 25 minutes with light traffic to get to the airport from Leisure Woods. Probably about the same distance to get into downtown Austin, of course, depending on traffic. But you can check Google Maps, set an arrival and a departure time to get a good estimate for how long it would take you. And I find that those estimates with Google Maps are pretty accurate for our area. I think they use satellite data that's like compiled over time to give you sort of an average. So not a terrible hike from here. Dining and going out and shopping. This area has changed and grown so much over the past decade. There really are a lot of options right here. There's some really cute high-end boutiques for shopping. There's some good, authentic, one-of-a-kind restaurants that aren't chains down on Main Street, Buda. We actually have a whole video of walking tour of downtown Buda, so go check that out if you're interested in moving to this area. But there really is a lot that you can do without having to go into Austin for a night out or for a restaurant. Property taxes are lower in here. Just the tax rate is usually lower in here than a lot of the other areas, especially the newer construction in Buda usually has a higher tax rate. So that's a plus for Leisure Woods as well. The downside of that is that I believe the taxes are lower because you're missing some of the city services. Like most, I don't know if it's most, many houses in here are on septic systems. They do have city water, but septic is something that you have to learn about if you're not used to that. So, so there's some positives and some negatives to being in this area, kind of outside of the main city. That wraps up our video on Leisure Woods. I hope that you found it helpful. If you have any questions or think I missed something, please let me know. Drop a comment below and we'll be happy to listen and get back to you. If you have any questions about moving to this area or about Austin real estate in general, I'd love to help you. Reach out anytime. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.